Hi, welcome to the Brief Book Reviews channel, otherwise known as An Old Guy Reviews the Book that he's read this week. So what's the old guy read this week? Well, the book we're looking at this week is called Truly, Darkly, Deeply by author Victoria Selman. Victoria Selman, probably best known for her Zeba Mackenzie books. This is a standalone psychological thriller. It was published in hardback in the UK in July 2022. And it's just come out recently, 16th of February 2023, as a paperback here in the UK. It's part of the Richard and Judy book club picks for spring 2023, some of which I've reviewed already on the channel, which include books like The Blackbird by Tim Weaver, which was very good, The 620 Man by David Baldacci, which was very good, and recently, a few weeks ago, I reviewed Insomnia by Sarah Pinborough. So the books chosen by Richard and Judy for their book club picks for spring 2023 so far have been very good. So I thought worth a go. And indeed, and currently in the W.H. Smith bookshop chain here in the UK, this paperback's selling for half price. So it's like £4.50. So £4.50 for probably a good read. Was it worth it? Yeah, I think it was. So what's it all about? Well, as I said before, it's a psychological thriller. Our story is of Amelia Rose, a lady called Amelia Rose, and her daughter Sophie. They moved from Massachusetts to London to start a new life. Sophie's 12 years old, starts going to the local school, has some problems initially because although she thinks she's a very good speller, certain American words and English words are spelled differently. So I thought, her first submission in her English class includes words like colour, neighbour, apologise, all spelt the American way and not the English way. And it takes a little bit of time for Sophie to get accustomed to the English way of life, but she very soon does. Her mother gets a job with an accountancy firm. They get a flat in London, and all is well. Sophie is pleased to see that her mother has started a relationship with a guy called Matty. His name's Matty Melbourne. He's a charismatic Irish guy. He's a bereavement counsellor. And Sophie, who hasn't really known her real dad because her dad legged it when she was 2 years old, immediately takes to Matty. Matty's, as I said, a charismatic guy, a fun guy to be with. And it's the real sort of first father figure she's ever really had. So she takes to him instantly, and they get on very well, and the three of them get on very well. Unfortunately, at that time, there's all of a sudden in their area of London, there's a series of murders, and there's a slight amount of concern in Sophie's eyes because all the women that are being murdered look like her mother, long curly hair, young, slim. But Sophie dismisses this. It's easy to think things are there when they aren't really there. These murders continue, and this is in the 80s, so serial killers weren't really a thing. But that all of a sudden, the persona of the person committing these crimes, which are increasing, is called the shadow. There are police announcements, and both Sophie and her mother, Amelia Rose, are somewhat conflicted because they know that Matty, who, as I said, charismatic Irish guy, they know he disappears from time to time. There are times when he says he's working at a crisis centre and he pulls out of dates, and there's a little bit of suspicion in their minds. Not helped by the fact that one of their neighbours, who fancies Amelia Rose, is posting things through their letterbox about, maybe the serial killer is Matty, this sort of thing. So there is some doubt with the two women, and unfortunately, things progress as the story unwinds. Matty is arrested by the police and goes to trial for murder of I think 9 women in the end. We see the effect that the trial has on the 2 women, and Matty is sentenced. He gets a life sentence. And basically that sentence ruins both the women's lives. Amelia Rose takes to drink. Sophie, as you can imagine, gets a terrible time at school because all her classmates are saying, she's the daughter, although she's not actually the daughter. She's the daughter of a serial killer. So time moves on. 20 years later, Sophie gets a letter from Matty. He's in prison. He's been in prison all these years, 20 years. He's dying of pancreatic cancer. He wants to see her for one last time. So Sophie thinks, well, is this a chance for him to finally admit his crimes? Because he's always maintained his innocence all this time, saying he didn't do any of these crimes. Is he finally going to admit on his deathbed that he did these crimes? Or is he going to tell her the real story, that he knows somebody else did it? So that, in essence, is the book. It's a very well-written psychological thriller. It's a slightly gruesome subject, the subject of serial killers, but it's not a celebration of serial killers. It's the effect that relationship that the two women have with him and how it ruins both their lives and how Sophie is trying to rebuild hers. So, very good read. Really enjoyed it. I'd give it 8 out of 10. And that's it for this week's brief book review. 10/10, so we do it again. Thanks for watching.